I finally did this, this video thing. Yeah. That's exciting. We've been told to never quit, to push harder, to grind until our eyes bleed, but what if quitting was the smartest move you could make? What if the path to success isn't about doing more, but about doing less of the wrong things? This video is sponsored by Tonal, more on them later. For most of my life, I've lived by this unspoken rule, that if I just worked harder, longer, and faster, things would eventually click. That success was a game of endurance, that the last one standing wins. But the thing about endurance is that it only works if you're running in the right direction. Otherwise, you're just getting really tired while ending up nowhere. We've been told to keep pushing, keep grinding, keep hustling, to never quit, and sure, that makes for a great motivational quote on Instagram, but in real life, it's terrible advice. Because sometimes the smartest thing you can do isn't to push through, it's to walk away. Somewhere along the line, we turned never quit into a religion. We made grit the only metric that mattered. We celebrate founders who sleep under their desks, athletes who train through injuries, and creators who post daily no matter what. Apparently, rest is for people who don't want it bad enough. Which sounds like a great way to end up exhausted, burnt out, and probably crying in the Trader Joe's parking lot. But what if quitting isn't the end of the story? What if it's the beginning of something more intentional? Because quitting isn't about giving up, it's about giving back. Back your time, focus, and energy. And when you think about it that way, it might actually be one of the most productive things you ever do. Up until last year, I was running 2 companies while still working a full-time job. 6-figure salary, $1.7 million in equity, and a sunny corner office. On paper, it looked like I was killing it. In reality, I was constantly exhausted and mentally fried, mainly because my grandmother wouldn't stop bragging about her grandson. I had hundreds of unread emails across 3 accounts, endless meetings, multiple projects, content to create, teams to manage, and travel that never seemed to end. I told myself this was ambition. That being a circus act of business, juggling 47 things at once, was some kind of badge of honor. But in reality, I was just stuck in a cycle of churn and burn, constantly exhausted, constantly behind, chasing a sense of accomplishment that never actually came. I'd park my car, sit there for a minute, and then slowly walk up the stairs, practicing my fake smile, and spend my days working on someone else's dream while my own confidence slowly eroded. We're told persistence is everything. And don't get me wrong, persistence is powerful, but blind persistence, that's how people stay stuck for years. I told myself, just one more year in this job, just one more sleepless night, and maybe I'll finally feel fulfilled. But I didn't. As I sat in my office, I realized I wasn't ambitious, I was just afraid to quit. Because quitting meant walking away from security, from the salary, the equity, and the good job pats on the back.
Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy, huh? Who's a good boy?
Me.
Quitting meant admitting that what I had spent years chasing wasn't what I actually wanted. So I did the scariest thing I've ever done. I quit. And the second I did, I thought I might throw up. Because the thing nobody tells you about quitting is that it doesn't feel like freedom at first, it feels like free fall. But what happened next genuinely surprised me. But before I get into that, a quick word about Tonal. You know, people say never quit, but I think sometimes quitting is exactly what you need. Like quitting the gym, not exercise, just the gym. The waiting, the commute, or standing around while Chad takes 20 minutes to text between sets. That's why Tonal makes so much sense. It's the ultimate strength training system that hangs right on your wall, so you don't have to waste time commuting, waiting for equipment, or pretending I know what I'm doing. Tonal takes the guesswork out of working out. It gives you real-time coaching cues to nail your form, sets the right weight for every move, and automatically adjusts as you get stronger. No flip-flop deadlifts required. And whether you're into lifting, arrow hit, yoga, or mobility, Tonal has expert-led workouts to fit your schedule and your goals. Right now, Tonal is offering our listeners $200 off your Tonal purchase with promo code MOTIVATED. That's Tonal.com and use promo code MOTIVATED for $200 off your purchase. That's Tonal.com, promo code MOTIVATED for $200 off. The moment I quit, my life didn't collapse. I didn't end up living in a cardboard box behind Starbucks. I didn't lose my identity. Instead, I felt lighter. Like I finally had space to breathe, to think, to work on something that actually mattered. We live in a culture that treats quitting like failure.
You're failures! Failures!
The word itself feels like an insult. You quit your job, you quit your workout, you quit a habit, you quit pumping out 2 podcast episodes a week and prioritize video-first content and start a YouTube channel. But what if quitting isn't failure at all? What if it's focus? Because every time you say no to the wrong thing, you're saying yes to something better. It's like deleting Candy Crush off your phone. Yeah, technically you quit, but now you've got time to finally call your mom back. After stepping away from the never quit treadmill, I started seeing the ripple effect everywhere. When I quit planning Pinterest-level family outings, I stopped stressing over whether my daughter would have some magical zoo experience and started enjoying the churro, sticky meltdown reality of parenting. When I quit trying to pump out 2 podcast episodes a week, I finally made space for creativity. Suddenly, I was excited to hit record again, instead of dreading it like another item on a never-ending checklist. When I quit measuring my worth by how many hours I could grind in a week, I finally started doing work I was proud of. Whether it's a small or large decision, I've started asking myself, am I staying because of the sunk cost fallacy? Meaning, am I afraid to let go just because I've already invested so much time and energy? Does this align with my values? If what I'm doing drains my energy every day, maybe it's not about working harder, maybe it's about choosing better. What's the opportunity cost here? By staying stuck here, what am I missing out on elsewhere? And is this making me healthier or worse? If something is costing you your well-being, it's not worth the price. The day I quit, everything changed. I realized quitting isn't about giving up, it's about redirecting your energy and making space for what actually matters. It's editing. Think about your life like a film. You cut the parts out that don't serve your story so the final product is stronger. When I walked away from the job that looked perfect on paper, it created space for projects that actually mattered to me. It gave me the chance to build something meaningful instead of clinging to something that wasn't. And the truth is, life is less about adding and more about subtracting. We've been told our whole lives never quit, but the truth is quitting is part of the process. It's editing. And like any good film, its strength isn't in how much footage you keep, it's what you're willing to cut. We're attacked by marketing and advertising that tells us our life will only be complete once we get this new thing. So what do? We start to think our life doesn't feel whole until we add something. It's counterintuitive to think maybe it's less about adding and more about subtracting. Sometimes less is less, in a good way. Less noise, less weight, less fogginess, less stress, and less fake pats on the back like you're a dog. Quit the wrong things so you can focus on the right ones. So if you're stuck in something that's draining you, whether it's a job, a relationship, a side project, or even a bad habit, remember, quitting doesn't mean you've failed. It means you're finally making room for the stuff that matters.